Meanwhile, on the blue area of the moon.
Where's my sword? Oh. Hello? Hold
Ding
on.
dong, bitch.
Oh, I'm coming.
Ding dong, bitch.
Hey, what are you doing up here? I'm about to go down to watch the sword fights.
I am so bored. The sword fight, no. Could we do something else instead?
Look, I'm just as pissed as you are. It's just like, hi, I'm an Omega level, and you
Hello?
don't want me to fight? What?
I am too.
Honey, you're not Omega level.
There's a mistake.
Honey,
on the list.
Stop it. The list has been codified in stone. I actually, if you look on the wall, I made it in tablet form, kind of like the 10 Commandments. And there you see my name, Storm names. Your name is not on it, okay?
It's a mistake. I am purely Omega. I've been Omega since birth, darling. Birth.
The only thing Omega is your ass.
That's so true. Do you want to go do yoga?
Look, I'm telling
Hot
you.
yoga.
All right, you know what? That's the hot yoga. All of it has been canceled because of the pandemic.
Oh, I've got the best mask. I know a private yoga studio. I just got a diamond encrusted N95 mask.
Oh my God, let me see it.
Here.
Oh my God, that looks amazing. I love it. You know what? Because that's the thing. I will say I am a little pissed that I was not chosen as one of the sword ladies. You know?
Oh, me too.
And did you notice there's only 2 women fighting on our side? We all know that the women
Aurora.
3 women. Sorry. Aurora, Betsy, and Magic. Those are the ones you're gonna choose? I mean, Aurora, fine. Let's give it to her. But Magic? You're gonna choose Magic over Jean fucking Grey?
She was literally born with a sword or something like that, right?
Well, sword is her goddamn soul. That's why she's so awful on the inside.
What are you being so mad about? Who wants to wave around a giant cutting knife?
You do realize that if they lose, then we lose Krakoa, okay? And I don't want to trust Krakoa to my son Cable. I mean, not really my son. I mean, it's Madeline Pryor's son, but I'm telling you right now. Did you know they wanted to bring that cunt back? They were
I know. I heard. I voted
I know
no.
you were in the meeting. Thank you for having my back. Thank you for having my back.
Son.
I know, right? And Havoc? Oh, what? Because you want to fuck my clone? Weird. That's weird.
Let me tell you something. Havoc, and I know this, is fucked up. During the whole Mothervine thing, I tried, dear. I tried. And I was like, ew. It was like stepping barefoot in an old movie theater, walking around his brain.
Oh my God. It's disgusting. That's disgusting. Have you noticed his lips are very chapped lately? Something went on with his mouth when he was with Madeline Pryor. And I don't fucking trust it. And especially now he's like looking at me. I know when he looks at me, he's eyeing me up with a Goblin Queen outfit on. I'm like, get it out of your head. Because I can read it. I'm an Omega level telepath. I can see that's what you're thinking. He's really pissed at me. You know what? Fuck these swords people. You know what? Fine. Let's go. You know what? I don't want to do yoga. I want to do something bad. I want to eat burgers and I want to get drunk.
Yes, let's eat. I know this.
We can't do it in
wonderful.
America. Let's go to like Singapore or something.
I was just going to say, I know a wonderful place in Singapore that has burgers, martinis, and they do manicures while you eat.
And on the way, it's not that far from Madripoor, so let's just go and let's blow up a bunch of people, not human. We can't kill humans either. I want to kick ass, get pedicures, and get drunk.
Well, then let's go do it. The scene is dreary for me, dear.
All right, let's get out of here. Fuck you, swords.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to...
Oh my God, we planned 149 episodes. We get to the 150th, and we fuck up the intro.
It was bound to happen sooner or later. Listen, at least we timed this fucking show so that when we start it, by the time we get to the 150th episode, we're going to be talking about the opening of a major X-Men crossover event, a.k.a. our lifeblood.
Yeah, we knew this was going to happen. The cards read it. The tarot cards told us that we needed to start the podcast on that week and take those weeks off when we did. Just so
those specific weeks off, so that everything would line up, so that during our sesquicentennial, I think that's right, episode, we're going to be talking about something. It has an X-Men event has not been this big since
last year.
Fucking Age of Apocalypse.
Oh, I'm like last year. I mean, House of X.
Oh no!
What, you think this is big? You think this is bigger?
Bigger.
I mean,
bigger.
I feel House of X is big because it completely turned everything upside down. But yes, this is very big for a crossover.
I'm talking sheer volume.
Yes. And that's right. Guess what, people? There is no time for anything else. This is a completely Ten of Swords. Always going to want to say X. 10 of Swords episode.
That's amazing. We should be celebrating. We should be doing something special. In fact, what I was going to suggest is that we try to make it through the whole episode without calling it X of Swords, but too late.
Fucked it up already.
That's okay.
But it's
That's
like,
okay.
They do that on purpose, where it's like, hey, here's the X-Men, where everything on the cover says X, and now we're going to have 10 of Swords with an X, but you can't say X, you have to say 10. It's just to fuck with us. Hickman is just fucking with us.
And Teeny, don't forget Teeny, she wrote it too.
Yes, Teeny is fucking with us emotionally.
So there's 22 chapters.
Logically. There's 22 chapters.
Together they comprise a brain. Yeah.
And we've already started Excalibur, and there was what else?
Prelude issues.
And Prelude.
Yes, Prelude issues.
The Preludes were fucking complicated. Let's just say that the X-Men and Excalibur issues were, you had to read through them a couple of times to be like, what is going on?
Look, it's a dense mythology they're putting forth here.
Yes, and I'm glad they did all of that, because otherwise, if I just started reading this, I'd be like, what is going on? Like, this was dense too. X of Swords creation, the beginning, it was very dense, but thank God we had a little bit of like, I feel like I need like, it's just like put out a whole fucking book and let me just like catch up so we can get to the fighting.
Yeah. They have repeated this mythology so many times, and I'm saying this as a positive thing. Since House of X, we've been seeing, since the Moira issue, we've been seeing this mythology unfold. So I think that they recognized that this was complex and dense, so they've been repeating it over and over and over, and us X fans still don't get it. It's incredible.
Well, this is the thing, is I think when Hickman wrote out his Bible, this was part of it from the very beginning. He had all of this planned out from the very beginning. Because Excalibur literally is just that's all just a prelude to this. Yeah. And can I just say, as someone who, when it comes down to it, when I started reading comics, my favorite comic was Excalibur. And so Saturnine, how do you say it? Do you Saturnine?
Saturnine, because wasn't there an alternate version of her that spelled it with a 9?
Yes.
Yeah.
So Saturnine, I love that character, created by Alan Moore. And Chris Claremont, like giving her even more fun life and crazy things. I love that she has suddenly turned into this kind of centerpiece, which is interesting because Otherworld and the Star Citadel was always ruled by Roma and Merlin. And now it's just like all her. But we see, which we'll get to later, that they still are in the mix somewhere.
Yeah, there's a data page that brings together a lot of disparate elements of the Otherworld mythology, and we will get to that.
We will get to that, because we're just going to go through this in order. I mean, how else can we?
Yeah, so let's do it. You're right that Saturnine is central to this because it opens with a quote from Saturnine.
The Emma Frost of Otherworld.
The Emma Frost of Otherworld. Although we'll talk about another character possibly stepping into the role of Saturnine down the road, but it opens with a quote, "All I see, I own, and I am unsatisfied with the state of things. Of course, she's obviously talking about Betsy because she is a self-loathing misogynist, Saturnine, right? That's my interpretation. I'm just kidding.
I mean, well, that's the thing. We could say she hates Betsy because she's a woman, but also maybe she hates Betsy because the last time she was Captain Britain, she upped and got blinded.
That's true. And maybe she just really had a crush on Brian. But I don't think she's just talking about Captain Britain here.
Yeah.
I think she's talking about something.
Also, all of Captain Britain core is like decimated, and she kind of had to start it all over. So she's probably pissed.
Well, I think she's in a place of resetting everything. That overall is what it feels like to me that Saturnine is doing. I think she is exacting some kind of change, and I think we'll find that maybe she had a hand in a lot of this Araco Amenth annihilation stuff.
I think
we'll see.
I think with her, if she didn't want those four horsemen coming in to Otherworld to attack, she would have made sure it didn't happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because she just showed up. Yeah, like she showed that she's a boss bitch at the end of this issue.
Yeah, so she's kind of like, I think she's doing this like, let these guys fight each other, decimate each other out, and then I'll deal with the aftermath.
Or I want the aftermath.
Yeah.
You know, she's probably putting her chips on the X-Men, and she wants whatever outcome they'll bring.
I personally think she doesn't care who it is because she'll take care of whoever wins. Because that's the thing. If there's an ongoing thing, especially in Excalibur, there's been many covers on Excalibur, and even in the old X-Men thing, you always see the X-Men or Excalibur members as chess pieces, and Roma and Merlin moving them around. And we've seen this with Saturnine too. Like, she just sees them all as this is their pieces, their pawns in a game, her game. But I'm curious is what did she do to Roma and Merlin?
No idea. Or did Morgan Le Fay do something?
Yeah. But they're not.
And going back to the chess piece thing, we did have a cover of Excalibur. One of those prelude issues was Saturnine moving the Excalibur team members around the chessboard.
Yes.
But she was being moved in turn by a giant hand of Apocalypse.
Yes. But is Apocalypse in charge of anything?
I can't wait to get to more about Apocalypse, which I think I want to do later.
We'll go in order. So we open up with... Okay.
Yeah.
So let's open up with
these kids.
The four kids. So which ones are which? The horse head is...
Wolf head is Death.
Is Death. The one with fire is Pestilence?
Is War.
Oh, is War.
Because she says, say the word and I will give you war.
Oh, right. And so is the one with all the bandages Pestilence?
Yeah, because that's the one who's shooting the arrows into people that are getting them sick.
Yes, and then the Sphinx guy then is Famine?
Is Famine, yeah.
Okay. So they're just his four kids. And that's the one thing I will say is it just seems like this is... Okay, so in the history... Remember how in the Excalibur or X-Men where they were giving the history and it was like all of these people were sent out to battle and then they were battling for like 70 years or something until they finally lost. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
And then they finally lost, and so the mother, Apocalypse's wife, had to like go and then battle against somebody, and then she lost. Do you remember all of that?
Is this in X-Men?
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck. I should have read this issue before this episode.
I know, right? But that's where I'm just like, where were these four horsemen in that whole thing? Where were they fighting?
I mean, like, she's their mom.
Yes, but I'm just saying, where were they during all of this? Were they out fighting,
chilling.
Or were they just chilling?
Oh, I don't know.
Because that's the other thing is there's the Amenth that try to take down that are taking down the towers. It looks like the four horsemen are trying to take down the towers. So it looks like so they're going against this king. So I'm curious, was Apocalypse's wife, what's her name? Genesis. Was Genesis on the side of this king that they're trying to take down that tower?
I don't know.
I don't know either. But whatever. The four horsemen are coming to kill the king of, is it Arapo? Of Arapo? I mean, who?
No, this is one of the regions of Otherworld.
Oh, okay. So they're
this is the king of Dryador, which is a region of Otherworld. As per the map, we'll see later in this issue.
Okay. Got it. So they're already in Otherworld coming after these people. And so this poor guy, so he's like, the king is like, yeah, I'm going to die. It's over for me. You go off, get a message to Saturnine. And that poor person gets shot by pestilence.
Yeah. While on their pterodactyl, flying over to Saturnine. So I think, back to the confusion piece, though. So we have the four horsemen of Araco, let's call them, trying to overrule Otherworld piece by piece. I think what I don't understand is, are they doing this on behalf of the demon world that kidnapped them in the first place? Are they doing this on behalf of Amenth? Are they doing this on behalf of the god Annihilation? Or are they still at odds with them?
Yeah, that's my question too. I don't know whose side they're on with all of that.
Right.
And the one thing that we've been led to believe is that they're waiting for Apocalypse to save them.
To save
That's
them,
what the summoner has been saying.
Yeah, so Ten of Swords, Chapter 1, Creation, it opens with basically the four horsemen attacking one of the pieces of Otherworld, and then they send an emissary or a messenger to go tell the center of Otherworld, Saturnine's castle. And this messenger is fucked up from that arrow.
Yeah.
They say he is diseased.
Now, does it say which... where? Because he then screams Araco has fallen. But this tower is not part of Araco.
Correct.
Because it's in the Otherworld. So is he saying Araco has fallen? That makes it sound like these four horsemen have taken over everything. So I think they are on the side of Annihilation.
Right? Or like Annihilation and Amenth have finally beaten and taken over and beat down Araco. And so now the horsemen are like, all right, well, we're your people now. Maybe?
Well, I guess we'll find out. I'm sure it'll all be explained in depth.
And then Saturnine is like, let me find out.
I need the cards.
So she opens up her tarot cards.
Give me the cards.
Get me the cards. We cut to the scene we saw in the Free Comic Book Day issue, where in some forgotten place during some forsaken time, four beings, they go to a sun, a dying sun, and they pull this beast out of it. And then they use magic to basically shrink the beast down into its essence. And then they bring that essence to Saturnine. I think this is just a piece of the spell, that the tarot spell that Saturnine needs to perform to see what the future holds.
Yes.
What do you notice about these four beings?
Isn't one of them... I mean, they're there later with Saturnine, right?
Yeah, especially the fish one.
Are they... What do you notice? What?
Gemini, Pisces, Taurus.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Very astrological.
Where's the Aries? What's your sign, Brett?
I'm an Aquarius.
Yeah, why are we left out?
Right. Why am I left out? We're like Gene and Emma, left out. We then go to a data page about the Starlight Citadel.
It's kind of giving the history of how the Captain Britons are gone and how Saturnine has taken up residence. It still doesn't say how... Because that's the other thing, is now that I'm thinking about it, in Remender's, when the last time I feel like we really dealt with Otherworld was in Remender's Uncanny X-Force, when all of the Captain Britons were killed, in part by the Monarch, Jamie Braddock, when he was kind of in Otherworld. And I don't remember, was Roma and Merlin there then?
I think so.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
I don't remember. So yeah, I'm very curious of like, because we'll find out in a later is that the later data page that describes where everyone is and all the parts of
I think
Otherworld?
yes.
Right, we'll get to that later then.
Yeah. I mean, there's one thing that I associate with Roma and Merlin, and that is being held hostage, like being captured.
Yeah.
Like, I just always feel like Roma and Merlin are always being captured.
Yes.
And is that where they are? Did Morgan Le Fay capture them at some point?
Or Saturnine capture them?
There you go.
I don't fucking know. But all
was Saturnine working with Morgan?
Yeah, that's the thing. It's all... There's so many twists and turns and backstabs. Everything is up for grabs.
Backstabs.
Backstabs.
Listen, one thing is never up for grabs, and that is the sort of cycle of life of the Starlight Citadel as told through this Avalon children's rhyme. So on this data page, you've got a children's rhyme. And so the first thing I think when I see a children's rhyme is like, oh, well, here's a fundamental truth about the world these children live in. It's so basic and so fundamental. It's a nursery rhyme. And the rhyme is, wars rage and kings die.
Wait, Brett, you have to sing it like a nursery rhyme.
Wars rage and kings die, the wheel turns world around. So what that means is...
creepy.
Listen, shit happens.
Yeah.
Wars go on, kings die, the wheel goes on and on. Bones break beneath the wheel, the king he tumbles to the ground. That's bad. That's not melodic. So bones break, and it's awful. Shit happens, and it's bad. As the wheel turns, there's suffering and there's death. It happens. The wheel center never changes. The lives she take. So the wheel center is referred to as a she. Saturnine. Still,
I
she
just
sits.
thought the Citadel.
Yeah. Saturnine, the Citadel. I mean, one and the same.
It's where
Still
all
she
the
sits.
nexus is. It's where all the dimensions meet.
Yeah. As smooth and placid, our ladies face a peaceful lake. So in the middle of all this chaos and destruction that is inevitable with the passage of time, in the center, unwavering, unchanging, sits Saturnine and the Citadel, calm as can be.
With no fucks to give. The eye of the storm.
No fucks to give. And I think that's what Ten of Swords is. I think this is just another turn of the wheel.
Yeah.
And that's why she's making all this stuff happen. She's allowing progress to take hold, allowing the cycle to continue.
All I know is when I read tarot cards, I wish I could have some demon octopus from the past imbibe my tarot cards when I read them.
I feel like they'd work a lot better.
Who's this bitch that looks like Artemis that's handing her the deck of cards?
It's one of her, servants. What are they? The people from Excalibur. The people with the bows and arrows of light.
Oh, okay. She's cool looking.
Yeah. She's cool. I like her. She's like Polaris, but moony.
So now she starts flipping the cards that she gets. And it's weird. As someone who reads tarot cards, some of them I'm just like, it's not what that card is.
Yeah, it's a stretch at best, yeah.
But I don't care. No, none of that matters. This
is not a study in tarot.
Yeah, exactly. What she says they mean, that's what they mean. So the first one is judgment. And
yes,
we see Apocalypse and Summoner about to go down the stony end with the gateway.
Yeah, and she says, listen, have the mutants realized the price to pay for resurrection, for enabling resurrection.
Yeah.
For becoming essentially immortal. Do you realize what kind of fire you're playing with there? And then we see the Four of Wands.
Which is the Four Horsemen.
A reference to the Four Horsemen. They crave battle and the spoils of victory. They have built a hard home, and one must dwell within. So they're doing their best.
And can we just, for a second, let's also just appreciate, I was reading this in bed next to my boyfriend, and my boyfriend, who is a storyboard artist, he just looked over and he's like, oh my God, the art on that is amazing. And I was like, yes.
Yeah, I mean... Pepe Larraz, baby.
Larraz, you can
some of his best work.
No wrong. This depiction of the Four Horsemen is gorgeous.
Look at Pestilence in the back with those skulls. Come on,
skull clouds of death. I love it.
Then we have the Hanged Man.
Yes.
Here no men hang, but something has been suspended. Indeed. Time? They bring themselves here to the game. So this is just the coming of this team of X-Men, who will see this issue. It turns out like this, a lot of these tarot cards, these premonitions were like right around the corner.
Yeah.
They'll happen later. The Eight of Cups. Now we know her name to be Genesis, and she's reflected against the god of Amenth, Annihilation, who we've seen her battling.
So did she lose? Did she die?
I don't know.
Or they didn't say what happened yet?
They haven't said what happened, but they're speaking about her in the present tense.
Okay. Who's on? And that's the thing is like, are they all on the same side now? It's so confusing.
It is.
And
then finally.
Okay, so.
The Ten of Swords card.
The Ten of Swords card. So do we want to talk about the Ten of Swords till after we get to the part where they name them, or do we want to talk about this now?
Let's talk about them when we name them, because there's something else that's happening in these pages that is a lot more interesting, I think, and that is the second opinion on the cards that were pulled.
What do you mean?
By none other than the Hellion Tarot.
Oh, wait. So you don't want to talk about who you think these are in these pictures? You want to save that?
Yeah, let's save it when we get to the swords.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Tarot. So at first, Tarot has had a very sloppy history in the 616. Because from my recollection, she was dead. And Moira said, to anyone with premonition powers being resurrected. And someone, Anthony, he texted us about it. I was like, no, this is bullshit. But then I decided to look up her history. It was like she died in Necrotia. Later on in a Spider-Man Deadpool, she's apparently alive again and doesn't have premonition powers, but still reads the tarot cards. And I was like, what? But it was never explained how she was still alive, and her powers are completely different than what they used to be. She now just takes the form of different tarot cards and has those powers. And where she used to like flip the cards, and she could have premonitions, but apparently in her powers, the premonitions aren't there, except when she just reads the tarot cards. But whether that's a mutant power, it's not necessarily that's her mutant power. Yeah. So I was like, okay, I guess I'll accept this. However, I do feel a mutant reading tarot cards, trying to predict the future, that would make one Moira McTaggart a little cagey. I'm surprised she hasn't been like her throat slit or something like that.
Throat slashed. Yeah. I don't know, but I'm thankful for it because I kind of like Tarot's a little bit more like down to earth take in the 5 cards that Saturnine pulled.
Because that's the thing is not only did Saturnine pull these cards, everyone did. Every fortune teller around the world all at the same time pulled the same cards.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
So her take is she's like judgment. Yeah, it's really about spiritual judgment. I mean, it's about spiritual growth. And that's what I think this whole story is.
Her cards have the same pictures, so wouldn't she be more clued in? No, I'm just kidding. I hate that this is a data page, but it has the pictures of Saturn's cards.
They're just making connections for us dummies.
Okay, go on. What does she say for each of these?
So for judgment, she says it's about this whole thing is about spiritual growth, and I really do think that's the point of Ten of Swords. I think this is going to be a very spiritual, almost religious journey and story of growth. So I think they're just setting up kind of the theme with the Judgment card. With the 4 of Wands, 4 can be a good number for this sort of thing. 4 walls make a house. I like that line about 4 walls making a house. I think this is about a home and protecting the home, and I don't know.
But it could be good for them, not for the mutants.
This one I love. The Hanged Man. She's like, well, the Hanged Man is hanging because he's sacrificing himself. And she says sometimes this means you have to. What's the phrase? Kill your sweethearts or something. I mean, there's 2, it's not sweethearts, there's 2 iterations of that phrase.
What are they?
There's kill your darlings.
Right.
and kill your babies.
So do you think that that's about Apocalypse sacrificing the mutants, sacrificing the four? Is it about how
or the Horsemen,
did sacrifice
or
the four, or is it about Apocalypse maybe sacrificing himself to save everybody?
Yeah,
Who knows?
who knows? The Eight of Cups. She says, "Oh, a sad card in my deck." So she's got different pictures. The cups are all overturned. The person reading this is something is missing in their life. Perhaps they must walk away. Perhaps they already have. This is a wound.
Yeah. It is a sad card in my deck too.
Oh.
It means emptiness. It means because in the way the cups cards work, each picture, depending on how many cups you have, it's like how much water is in the cup describes the emotion of the deck. And in the Eight of Cups, the cups are like they've been filled and then like thrown out. So they're like, you're empty and hollow inside.
Wow. Yeah.
Anyway.
Unsatisfied.
And then the X of Swords.
Then the X of Swords, it says
Ten
basically like this is going to be, it's darkest before the dawn. Like there is going to be some sort of rebirth, some sort of growth that comes out of this. But right before that, it's going to hurt.
Yeah.
I'm tempted to say that Nightcrawler could potentially play a bigger role in this story than we think.
Why?
If this is going to be very much about their spiritual existence.
Right.
Yeah.
Because he's forming the new religion.
He's got religion. Help me now. And then we see a character that I think you and I no longer hate. Thanks to this era of X-Men.
Who, Rachel?
Yes.
Rachel. And it's also just weird that now officially Rachel and Cable are just like called Jean and Scott mom and dad.
Love it.
But we see Rachel, Magma. That's Magma, right?
Yeah.
And Magma and Rockslide. They're heading towards that gate. And then this big squiddy thing comes out.
Very Lovecraft looking monster.
Yes, with the summoner and siren.
Banshee.
Oh, Banshee. Sorry, right. Oh, Siren hasn't gotten there yet. This is in the past. This is after, what was it? Onus the Untouchable, Summoner, and Banshee went in by themselves. And so Rockslide, Magma, and Rachel are waiting, and out they come. It's only Banshee and the Summoner with this big monster. And Summoner's like, oh, he's dying. Help, help, help. And they take Banshee to the healing gardens. And then they decide to go to the Quiet Council. And this is very interesting, too. This is also the first time we see Kitty on the Quiet Council.
Yeah.
I love it.
Love it. I also love her smart new gloves. Wonder why she's wearing those.
Why? Oh, right. Ah, that's so smart. Because she has Kill Shaw tattooed on them. Oh my God, I didn't even notice that. That's fucking brilliant.
So good.
Oh my God. Anyway, everyone's a little pissed at Apocalypse because they're like, yeah, you've been fucking playing us. You kind of been playing your own hand on this damn island the whole time without telling any of us. So why don't you go fuck yourself?
Yeah, Magneto's like, Apocalypse says, like, as we recently constructed an external gate. He's like, we? There was no we. You just did it without us.
And here we are reminded that it is the Twilight Sword that severed the islands into Arakko and Krakoa, severed them in two.
Also, Apocalypse is like, by the way, Quiet Council, this is my grandson.
Yeah.
He was just attacked. He and Banshee were just attacked. He's a very good boy, and he will never betray us. And then meanwhile, of course, just like every goddamn meeting, all of a sudden somebody's hand goes up in the back. Excuse me. Yes, Dougie. Krakoa says we have to do the gate.
Yeah. Krakoa needs to do the gate. And from according to them, to the summoner, it looks like as soon as they went through the gate, they just got attacked. And Unis the Untouchable was captured. And so they need to send in a team.
Yeah, gotta go get Unis. And we gotta go take it to them. The summoner's like, oh, I don't know what happened. We were just standing there. Then all of a sudden they started beating us.
Yeah. And then, of course, my favorite comment is from, of course, Mr. Sinister.
Yeah.
Because Apocalypse is like, I'm going to go and fix it. He's like, perfect. You walk through and then we shut the door behind you. I have to say, after a mundane start, this meeting is really picking up. Like, he's just
the best.
But all of them are like, we need to close this gate if big squid monsters are going to be coming through it. And so they're all like, yeah, let's just close this fucking gate. However, Dougie says, oh, no. Krakoa is like, no, the gate needs to stay open because I need my boo to come join me eventually.
Mm-hmm.
So they're kind of like fucked.
Krakoa is like, look, I just got to fuck a little piece of Araco. Like, I'm trying to fuck the whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
My favorite line from the Quiet Council, yours is Sinister. Mine is Mystique with the huge telegraphing tell. And don't forget Orcus. They're still out there circling the sun, waiting. In fact, I just had a meeting with them where I really am just going to betray this whole fucking island because you won't give me my wife back. She's like, I still have my Orcus email address. So yeah, the council's like, okay, we got to keep the gate open, but we got to reunify Krakoa and Araco, but Araco might be a little bit shady.
I have a question. So they say like around weekly, everyone's minds are uploaded to Cerebro. That is done by Xavier, right?
Yeah, kind of like an autosave.
But I guess it's probably too many thoughts for him to really tell if someone is doing a betrayal.
Yeah, I mean, he's not like opening the file. He's just downloading the file.
Yeah, but
you know what I mean?
would be like, hey, if I was Xavier, I think like someone like Mystique could be like, I'm gonna look through this.
Yeah.
I'm just saying Xavier's being a little dumb, not looking through the stuff of him, like Apocalypse. Anyway,
Mystique has a slippery mind. Her mind is not easily read.
Well, but I mean, it's read enough that she can be resurrected.
Sure. I mean, it's downloaded. Again, it's downloaded. It's not read.
Downloaded, doesn't know he can read it. Okay, fine. Anyway, the team that we saw with, what was it, the Hanged Man or whatever?
Yeah, they're here.
They're here. So we got some Rock Slide, Polaris and Havoc having a
Let's talk about that in their classic costumes, just having a conversation. I screamed.
Yeah, it's great. And they're kind of like cool with each other.
Yeah, and I really, really, really love, and this is something I want to talk about later, Polaris, he's like, why are you here? Oh, I take it Magneto made you come. And she quotes Magneto, the strength of the House of M must never be questioned. I bet she does a great impression. I just love that, God, she's such a Magneto's daughter,
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
You know, and she's just like, oh yeah, of course he made me come. And Havoc's like, of course he did. Like
But then he's also
get
like,
it. They know each other. It's
Scott
family.
Made me come.
Scott made Alex come?
Yeah, by jerking him off. No, because he's like, yeah, Scott can't go because he's part of, he's like, since this isn't like a sanctioned fight and he's the captain of the, he's the general or whatever, he can't go. So that means I gotta go. And then we got like Richter, and here's where they point out, they're like Angel then starts pointing out, he's like, I'm going because I don't fucking trust Apocalypse and I want to see what the fuck's going on. Beast is like, I'm kind of evil, so I want to see what's going on. Beast is
a micromanager, so he's going.
Siren is like, I want to see what the fuck happened to my goddamn father, so I'm gonna fucking go. But then Richter, they're like, why is Richter all on Apocalypse's jock? Like that's the other thing I never really thought about. Richter killed all the Eternals. Like, I never really thought about that. That's very big. That's kind of a crazy thing for him to do.
Yeah.
Like, he flat out murdered all the Eternals for Apocalypse. They're fucking. I know they're
Big dick will make you crazy.
They're fucking.
Good dick will make you crazy.
I can't imagine Apocalypse having a good dick. It's probably like a big chode. It's probably like
a beer can.
It's probably like, no, more like a tuna can. Like 2 inches long and like huge circumference. Gross. Like, what am I supposed to do with that? All
right, so I don't know. The most.
Oh, and Monet.
Yeah, why is she there?
Why is Monet ever there?
I'm here for it. I'm here for her answer. Then why are you joining us? Honestly, feels like a job I might want down the road. She's talking about omniversal majestrix. Yeah. She's talking about that position. Yeah. She has got her resume ready to go. She's like, here's my CV. By the end of Ten of Swords, I will be the new omniversal majestrix. Don't you worry about it.
Yeah. That could be, that might be what they're setting up. Come on, Monet.
And then we get something real big.
Yeah.
Data-wise.
And then
we get the map of Otherworld.
The map of Otherworld. Jesus Christ.
And it's like not just Otherworld. It's like how Earth and Arakko and Krakoa, like how they all relate to Otherworld.
Yeah.
It's incredible. And like it really helped make sense of Excalibur in that Avalon is just one tiny piece. Like I never really thought of Otherworld as this many regions.
Yeah.
And it really helps.
And so this is, I think because I don't want to, let's talk about, there's the Starlight Citadel with Saturnine. And then there's the Fair Courts and the Foul Courts.
Yeah.
And the Fair Courts, I guess that's the thing, is there's the floating kingdom of Roma.
So you got Roma's place.
But then on the Foul Courts, there's the Holy Republic of Fae, which is Merlin. So I'm just like, what?
Is Merlin Fae?
No. Or is he?
Where do you see Merlin?
I don't know. Where he's the regent.
Oh, okay. I'm looking at the wrong page. Yes. Okay.
And then there's the Infuri.
Yep.
Which is Forge Master Federal Fury 005.
Now, is that an Alan Moore?
Is the Fury?
That's the Fury. That's
Isn't
that robot.
The unstoppable robot?
Yeah.
Okay. That's crazy.
That's cool.
And then Hot Hive of Vesperidae. Yeah. Do you know who that is?
No, but it sounds like some like Fae character from back in the day.
And then Avalon has the Monarch that used to be.
Yay,
Morgan.
Jamie!
So that was the one Morgan Le Fay
took over.
Was that okay? So then there's Dryador, which is just vacant. Blightspoke, which is
that was just taken over.
Unknown. Oh, vacant. That's the one that was conquered.
Yeah.
Okay. Blightspoke, unknown. Sevalith, which is the Countess
Ubla and Escura.
Who are they? Do you know who those
are? I would have to research. I don't know offhand.
There's a Mercator,
I don't know.
unknown. There's so many things where I'm just
Mercator. Like, ding, ding, ding.
What's Mercator?
So, Absalon Mercator. That's one of the Omegas. Mr. M. He's probably the regent there, or he's probably the land, or something.
Oh, interesting.
But that's Absalon Mercator, and then so he can warp reality, as can Mad Jim Jaspers.
Jim Jaspers, the Crooked Market.
So let me tell you something. These are all reality warpers.
Yeah. All of them.
Most of them.
No, Fury is a reality warper. Remember? Did you read the
Monarch is?
If you read Captain Britain, there's a whole thing where it's the Fury, Mad Jim Jaspers, and Captain Britain, and the way he beats the Furies by having Jim Jaspers and the Fury battle each other.
Yeah. Where
they keep warping reality. They all are reality warpers.
Fascinating.
But that means if they were like, oh, the Monarch needs to be the leader of Avalon, then Mr. M needs to have been implanted there a while ago. Right. This is fascinating.
Maybe that's, I think, didn't he disappear at the end of that series he was a part of?
Yeah. He kind of like
he probably went there. Yeah. Oh, man. So good.
So now we move on to this one. I'm just like, I can't wait for that. I have a feeling that's the future of Excalibur is going to be those worlds. Awesome. Them going through and battling different reality warpers. Can you imagine if Excalibur one by one has to stop all the reality warpers?
Can you imagine if that was the concept of the book after this?
That's what I want it to be. It would be amazing.
Amazing. Teeny.
Meanwhile, Cable and Rachel are doing some sibling psychic
sleuthing
powers and go into Banshee's brain to get the what really is going on. But then we cut to there's a nice interaction between Angel and Apocalypse where he's just kind of like, what the fuck are you smiling at? Don't fucking look at me. Fuck you.
Oh, the scene. I loved seeing these two have a conversation.
But he's just like, oh, look, that's how I made you. You're wearing my... It's kind of like you're wearing my outfit that I made you.
Ooh, you liked my makeover. When Angel is like... Warren's like, you know what your problem is to Apocalypse? He's like, you think that because everything you do, you think is noble or the right thing or is like the way life's supposed to work. Like, you think you're above any consequence of it. And I'm here to tell you, you're not. Like, just because you think this is destiny or whatever doesn't mean you're above the reactions to what you're going to do.
Yeah, and Apocalypse is like, one cannot call something a sin when it's a righteous work being done. And he's like, yeah, that right there. See, that's what I mean.
This is what I'm talking about.
That's like a Teeny Howard line.
Yeah. So then we cut to Otherworld in Dryador.
We see poor Unis being like...
just crucified.
And
then Apocalypse
finally
is like,
sees his kids. He's like, my babies.
It's my kids. It's my babies. It's my kids. He cries.
But
he sheds a tear.
Okay, so here's the other thing is to ask. There's two different types of plots in a Law and Order episode. There's the plots, and I don't know if you're aware of this, and I do have a point of why I'm bringing this up.
I love this.
There's two different types of scripts. And one script is a regular script, and the other script is written when it is a celebrity playing the bad guy. Do you know why they have to have two different scripts for that?
Oh,
because when the celebrity plays the bad guy, as soon as you see Jane Krakowski show up in an episode of Law and Order, you're like, oh, she's going to be she's going to be the suspect. She's the one who's the killer. Because it's like, she's not just going to show up for a bit part. You know what I mean? And so they have to they realized, oh, we need to write these different because the audience knows the betrayal, who the bad guy is. And I do feel that it is clear very early on.
Interesting.
That the summoner is going to betray everybody.
Oh, you had me at, will you play a game with me, children?
Exactly. And that's what I mean. So for me, for anyone who's just kind of like, oh, this was so obvious, I'm like, of course it was obvious, but that's
like
not
it was
the
intended
point.
to be.
That's not the point. So this whole thing of like Apocalypse, and it's kind of Angel sets it up where he's like, you think everything you do is right. So that's because Apocalypse thinks that. He has no idea that maybe me sending my children to a hellscape, maybe they'll be mad at me for that.
Maybe they're going to be mad. Maybe they're going to be a little mad. And maybe they're going to tell their kid, the summoner, that granddaddy is a piece of shit.
It doesn't even cross his mind. So he's like, let me go talk to my children. Meanwhile, it cuts back to Cable and Rachel, and they realize, oh, the summoner's like manipulating how the thoughts are. They go in and see what's going on, and it's kind of going back and forth between Apocalypse.
Yeah, great tension building for the betrayal of Apocalypse.
And War and the summoner, they just double stab him in the back, stab him in the front.
They're like, Father, we love you. Just kidding. Stabby. They hate him. And
Siren, her powers are they more powerful than usual than I remember?
She's pretty powerful.
Yeah. And that's where, this is one where Pepe Larraz is such a great artist. The thing where you see the summoner turning back.
Summoner's betray face.
Evil face.
Yes, the evil smile. Even like it scares Rachel and Cable.
Yeah,
they're like, oh
they're
shit.
just like, oh fuck.
Yeah, but Banshee got away. Good. Like, to Banshee's credit, he escaped. Well, kind of.
Well, I mean,
Summoner brought him back. Never mind.
And then they start seeing Saturnine being like, what's this bitch doing? And she's like, oh, I see you looking mutant, but you're looking for the wrong thing. She's going in their brains. And where does Saturnine come from? Like, what's her origin? I don't think her origin has ever been explained.
Right.
Like, we kind of know where Berlin and Roma's his daughter, where they came from.
Yeah, like, what is she?
What is she? How did she get her powers? Yeah. Like, I would be fascinated to know.
I would love that. Like, this is the concept I represent.
Because we still never figured out the Saturn 9, Courtney Ross, Saturn, like, all of those different doppelgangers of her. That was never resolved. But anyway.
Yeah.
So now Cable and Rachel are like, oh fuck, let's go get mommy and daddy. We're in trouble.
Yeah, and also, but let's see if mommy and daddy know what this image that Saturnine put in Cable's head is.
Yes. And so meanwhile, Saturnine is just kind of like prepping. She's meditating, getting ready for everything. And then everybody's kind of fighting.
Yeah, she's looking down on all the fighting. And part of that fight is Summoner versus his old pal Rockslide.
And what sword, do we know which, I'm assuming the sword he pulls is one of the swords.
I think that's his power. Yeah, because if you look, it's like a black sword, but he's got black tendrils around his arms.
Yes.
And it's the same thing he did when he stabbed Apocalypse with like those two giant daggers.
Yeah.
So I think that's his power.
But do you think that's going to be one of the swords that he'll be one of the arena people?
Maybe.
Yeah, he fucking chops Rockslide in half. Now here's the interesting thing is, how do you bring Rockslide back since he's just energy? And because then it's like, will you be able to age him? Did they pull DNA? Does he have DNA? How would you resurrect him?
Right.
And I'm also interested, if they do have the original DNA, will he go back to being the old Rockslide from the original X-Men comic, where he still had a body?
Yeah.
That's very fascinating. And then he could finally come out and go out with Anole.
Yay. The cover of X Factor 4 is a mysterious figure coming out of a pod, and the 5 looking like, whoa! Like,
I bet you that's Rockslide.
I wonder if it's Rockslide. Yeah.
And then poor Richter is doing everything.
He takes an arrow.
He takes an arrow for Apocalypse. Like, he's dickmatized.
He's dickmatized.
Like, he is getting some good D from Apocalypse that he's taking a fucking arrow for him.
Listen, I'll tell you what. I never expected to see Warren Worthington swooping in to save Apocalypse, but here we are.
Yeah.
Crazy. And it's crazy that Warren is the one flying him out of there.
But here's the other thing is where they're just like, hey, Beast is like, we need to go. And then Havoc and Polaris are like, just go without us. And because that's the weird thing where it's like, we can die. Guys, we can die.
Yeah, we could die.
It's okay. We're going to...
It's fine.
Because Havoc and Polaris are the most powerful. So they're like, let us stay here to kind of like beat these asses.
I love that Havoc and Polaris are literally in the middle of hell. And they're like, just go, save yourselves, hurry. And then we cut immediately to Scott and Jean, who are like, did you put half and half in your coffee or almond milk?
I know. Just like, oh, anyway. So then they go to Cable kind of comes and Scott realizes where the thing that Saturnine put in their brains is.
Well, how cute is it, though, that Cable... all his dialogue to Scott and Jean after coming out of the gate is hyphenated. Like, he's a little kid telling his mommy and daddy something he's very excited about. Yeah. Like, Benji came back from other world and he's hurting bad. Oh, I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Scott knows what he's like. I know what that is. They're like, how do you know? He's like, because I'm Cyclops. I mean,
and now everywhere. That's the other thing is like, Monet is so Emma Frost's protege from Generation X. Because she's the one who's just like, Oh, I see. I can hear the thoughts of that bitch on the tower just watching.
She's like, bitch, get down here.
And she's like, I'll do what I please, child.
Get off your lazy ass, you bougie bitch.
And then
I can't believe Minot said bougie bitch.
Yeah, run along. And just psychically like punches her in the face.
Monet is like, how fucking dare you? Here is my resume. I've also emailed you a copy.
That is not a nice woman. Yeah, when Monet says someone's not nice, then you're in trouble.
And then Havoc's like, hey, that Starlight Citadel looks like a big ol' hunk of metal. Doesn't it, Lorna?
And there she goes.
And Lorna's like, what? I don't get it. What? Oh!
And then meanwhile, Scott is like, hey, the place we're going, we can't get to by a gate. We have to teleport there. And meanwhile, finally, Saturnine's like, let me come down. She's like, all right, everybody, just stop. And she just freezes everybody. And then we're just going back and forth between Jean Grey, Scott, and Cable, where they need to power up this object. We still don't know what it is. He's using the light of Gandalor? Galador. And here's where I love when Saturnine just turns Death into just like a little baby wolf.
A little baby wolf. It's so cute. And she's like, so, since you conquered Dryador, you're now its regent. How should we settle this?
And he's like, let's fight. Let's fight it out.
Let's fight it out like the way we do it in Otherworld. And she's like, oh, you mean 10 swords each?
And here's where it comes. She puts it in their heads. And we get the 10... Well, I guess 20 swords, rather.
Yeah, the bad guys get 10 and the good guys get 10.
All right, everybody, buckle the fuck in because this is going to take a little bit. This is going to be a long episode.
Well, before that, I just love that it's essentially Havoc and Polaris who are like, yeah, we'll do 10 of swords. Havoc's like, we'll accept the challenge. And Polaris is like, yeah, and here's 10 swords.
No, but it looks like she kind of puts it in their brains.
Yeah, because, there's no way Polaris.
Yeah, they didn't happen to mention that. She's like, here it is. Here's what you're going to use.
Yeah.
So
more trickery.
So if we take a look, Pestilence lists his 10 swords. There's the Twilight Blade, Mercy, Vermilion, the Sword of War, Colony, the Black Bone, what is it? Of Amduat, the Seducer, that's my favorite named one. Mm-hmm. Pog. I love that name too.
Mm-hmm. Pog is the big lizard in the promo ad.
Oh, really?
The giant lizard.
Purity, Alluvium, and Muramasu. But Pog, that's the name of the sword, though, is Pog?
And the sword bearer.
Oh, okay. But then it says Muramasa.
Yeah.
Why is there 11? Why does he say 11 and then she says Muramasa?
You know what? I think what they're going for is that these two are actually saying them at the same time.
Okay. Yeah. All right. I was confused. Okay. So now we get to the ones we can actually talk about. Because other than the Twilight Blade, maybe Pog, you saw the person there. We really don't know what these other ones are.
Right.
But these other ones, we do know what most of these are. There's Muramasa, the Sword of Might, the Starlight Sword, the Grass Cutter, God Killer, Warlock, the Soul Sword, the Scarab, the Light of Galador, Skybreaker. So, now we can go back to that picture where we see who has these 10 people, who has the swords. Now, here's the thing is, did you count how many swords there are in that picture?
No.
There's 11 swords. Did you notice that?
Get out. Why? Because someone has 2?
All right, let's go. I think you'll be very pleased when I bring this up with you. So first of all, let's go for the people that we can see.
Okay. In the front row.
Yes.
So we've got Cable with the Light of Galador.
So Cable,
We've
got
got
the Light of Galador.
Apocalypse with, I'm assuming, is the Scarab.
We got Wolverine with Muramasa. And if anyone doesn't remember, you remember what Muramasa is, right?
It's the only sword that could kill
Yes,
Wolverine.
It's wounds. No healing factor can cure its wounds.
Yeah.
We got the magic and the soul sword.
Yep.
And then we have, what is that?
Betsy.
Is that the Sword of Might? Or is that just her?
I think it's the Sword of Might.
I don't think it is.
Interesting.
I think that's just her telekinetic sword.
Her TK?
Because if you look in the back, we got Storm, which clearly is Skybreaker.
Yep.
We got Doug Ramsey, who I think is in the middle there.
Yep, with Warlock.
And then, if you look on the side, who do you know who has Grasscutter and Godkiller?
Gorgon.
Holding 2 swords. That's both of those.
Oh, so he's got Grasscutter and Godkiller.
That's what it looks like to me, right?
Interesting.
Which then makes me think the Starlight Sword is Magneto and Captain Britain has the Sword of Might.
Yes.
That's what I'm thinking. What do you think? And then Betsy
like that a lot.
Betsy just has her TK sword. I like that a lot. What do you think? Am I crazy? Because it looks like
I think that
he has, and I looked it up. Gorgon does have both the Grasscutter and the Godkiller swords. And if you look at old things in X-Force, he has 2 swords on his back. Like he's always carrying around 2 swords.
Love that.
So I think that's what this... I have a feeling in the new cover of Excalibur, you see Brian and Betsy fighting. And I have a feeling she's like, you need to fucking give me the Sword of Might. And I have a feeling he's like, fuck you. No, I'm going to do it and I will battle it.
But didn't he give it to her already? He gave it to her already.
Oh,
right?
I guess he did. Yeah, he did. But then he's holding it, battling her. Maybe he's like, I want it back. I don't know. Something's weird.
Maybe he's like, I want to be
the way
Captain
this
Britain
adds
again.
up is strange to me, and so I'm just very curious.
That is strange.
As to what this is, but I'm fascinated by it. Plus, where does Storm get this Skybreaker? The sword, also the Starlight Sword. That's clearly the Starlight Citadel.
Yeah.
And is that is that Captain Britain in the back? There's still we could be wrong on some of these, but I have a feeling I'm right.
I like it. I do too.
So that means there's going to be 10 epic battles. So I'm wondering, it looks like, I'm curious of like, how is the episodes, like how are these battles going to be split up into the comics?
It's interesting. She says, in 3 days, we will gather your champions here. So I'd imagine the first act of this. And so if this is a 22-issue crossover.
The first act is getting the swords.
22 tarot cards in the Major Arcana, by the way. Yes. Act 1, the gathering of the champions. The gathering of the swords. Yeah, right?
So then it goes to X of Swords Stasis 1. So that's probably when the battle begins.
Yeah. Or I wonder if it's like Act 1 is gather the champions, Act 2 is train the champions, have them go through their journeys so that they're ready, and then Act 3 is the actual battles.
Oh, see, I think it's more Act 2 is the battles, and then Act 3 is the fallout.
Yeah. And then there's an 11th sword.
This one,
a 12th.
It's like at this point. So, okay. The last thing we see is the Light of Galador, whatever the fuck you say it, lights up this thing, turns it on. What does it turn on? The sword spaceship.
The peak. Yeah.
The peak. S period, W period, O period, R period, D period. Formerly run by Agent Brand, but she quit.
So now it's...
The X-Men are taking...
Like, I love that they're just like, it's just abandoned. They're like, well, I don't want to do sword anymore, so that multi-gazillion dollar thing we built, like, fuck it.
But then the part that just annoys me is like, everyone has a sword. I guess we need to use the sword Like it's.
Oh, I love it.
It's just.
But they're setting up the Abigail Brand book.
Yeah, so Abigail Brand is going to have her own mutant book because it looked like they showed a cover of it, right, with different people on the cover.
Yeah, like who's going to be on her team?
Who were the people on the team on that?
There's a lot of back and forth, but I think we've landed on, and I don't have it in front of me, but Magneto is there. Manifold, who I swear to God, I never really appreciated that Manifold is a mutant. Manifold from the Secret Warriors, their teleporter. I always framed him in my mind as an Inhuman because he was referenced on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. during their Secret Warriors arc. Oh. And so they're all Inhumans on that show. So I always thought he was an Inhuman, but no, he's a mutant. And he was trained under Gateway. I've totally forgot about that too.
Oh. How? Gateway doesn't talk.
There are two characters. I forget who the others are, but there's two characters who people were going back and forth on. One is a guy with kind of a cape
I couldn't tell
like a suit.
He had like blonde hair.
That's Fabian Cortez.
Oh, no. Who would want him on a team?
And I think this team is pretty acolyte heavy because I think that the other woman is Frenzy.
Well, Frenzy's like kind of turned good.
She's kind of cool, but
Fabian Cortez, hell.
That's what I've heard. Somebody told me that they saw it confirmed that it's Fabian Cortez.
I believe
people were saying,
but I just say as a person, if I saw he was on my team,
yeah, but I mean, in this age. You know,
I don't know. I'd trust Mr. Sinister over Fabian Cortez.
Yeah.
So we end up with... So now it's like the... But that's the thing is if mutants take over S.W.O.R.D., that's going to be... That's kind of like, oh, we actually are the connection to the rest of the galaxy.
Well, I mean, think about in like House of X, how much of it was about mutants in space, and in the far future, there was this vector of space had mutants. Like,
but that's the thing
is all part.
Yeah, because that's the other thing is like, hey, when we want to talk to the representation of Earth, now mutants are like, oh, that's us. You can talk to us.
Fucking love it.
So now here we are, and so there's going to be the thing that I'm mostly looking forward to is seeing these battles, and I'm curious of like. Is this going to be a thing where it's like tennis, where it's like, then the winners battle each other until there's only one?
Oh, left? I was thinking it's not a tourney; it's like for points. Like I was thinking, okay, Wolverine won. It is now 4 points for the X-Men and 3 points for the Araco people.
I'd rather have it like, oh, Wolverine won this one. And the person who wins everything won this one, and now they're going to face off in the semifinals.
Yeah, I think it's just whichever side.
But yeah, 10 does 10. Wins. That means it would have to be like 8, not 10.
What if it's tied?
How can that be? But also, do they have to fight to the death? I assume.
Listen, do you think it's going to be tied, and then that's when Betsy has to come in with her TK sword, and she has to fight like the fucking God Annihilation or some shit?
I don't know.
That's what I'm calling. I'm calling it.
I will say that's the thing you have to realize is that the main defender of the Starlight Citadel is Captain Britain.
Is Betsy.
So she's going to play a huge fucking part in this.
Yeah. Okay, let's do this. Let's do predictions for 10 of Swords. What do you see? What do you see happening? I
have a feeling Cypher is actually going to get really far in this, and I think he's going to level up and hit and be very powerful.
Yeah, I see Cypher. Somehow, I wonder if we're going to get a stronger connection between Cypher and the Phalanx or the Technarchy or the World Mind or Dominions, like all that space stuff.
Yeah.
I also wonder if we're going to start to see them colonize Mars.
That'd be interesting.
And then that's what leads to the breeding pits, right? Like the chimeras.
Who do you think will win and lose? I think Wolverine will lose. I think Captain Britain will lose.
Yeah.
I think Magneto will win. Gorgon could go either way. I think Cypher will win. I think Magic will lose. Apocalypse will lose. Cable will lose. Storm will win. Betsy will win. That's my predictions.
Oof. All right. I gotta go back.
Oh, I thought you were like, I gotta end this.
No, I don't. I can't. I gotta look at that picture again and say who I think are gonna win, because I'm doing five. Five are gonna win. Five are gonna lose. Where are you? Here you are, page 20. Okay. I think that the winners will be Ileana, Douglas, Gorgon, Storm, and Magneto. So that means the losers are going to be Captain Britain, Cable, Apocalypse, Wolverine. Wait, how many people are...
Forgot Betsy.
There's only 5 people on this thing.
What do you mean there's...
I mean, there's only 10 people on this thing. There aren't 11 people on this thing.
That's what I'm saying. That's why it's so
Damn,
confusing.
so there goes my Betsy theory.
Yeah. That's what's so confusing about it.
Damn it.
Also, we need to go back and look at where was the one where everyone was battling each other? Was that Cable?
I know. Where
was
is that?
The first Cable?
I forget.
I would like to see who had, because I know Magic was fighting, Cable was fighting. I'd like to see who, like how people were faring in those fights. But I do like the idea. This is what I think is going to happen. 5 on each side are going to win, and it's going to be a tie. And then they need to choose.
We're definitely getting a tie.
Then they need to choose one winner, one of the winners, on each side to do a final battle, a tiebreaker.
Okay, I predict that. So I think we're definitely aligned that there's going to be a tiebreaker fight.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be Xavier with the Cerebro sword.
That's right. The Cerebro sword wasn't mentioned.
Right.
And of course, the fucking Cerebro sword, they wouldn't have turned Cerebro into a fucking sword if it wasn't anything to do with it.
And it's going to be like, the power of all the united mutants of Krakoa together.
It's going to be like the end of fucking Star Wars.
The power of the database.
When Rey is like, I have
in
all
this sword.
of the Force with me.
Listen, I'm telling you, that's what's going to happen.
I think that sounds right.
Ah!
But I feel like someone's going to die. I feel like it has to be Apocalypse is going to sacrifice himself.
Brian Braddock.
Brian Braddock will permanently die?
Permanently die.
Well, he can't be resurrected. He's not a mutant.
And that's why it hurts so bad.
Well, I'm excited. This is full of intrigue, twists, turns. It's dense for us to like just dig into and talk about. I'm excited.
Yeah, there's so much to unpack. How long has this episode been? Have we been talking about this one comic book issue for like 3 hours?
It's been an hour and 15 minutes around.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
One issue. This is going to be some good shit.
I know. Fuck.
Oh, one thing I wanted to talk about that I think is really at the heart of what makes this good is the thing that's at the heart of this that makes every Dawn of X thing good, the relationships.
Thank you.
There are so many family moments. You've got Siren showing up because of what happened to Banshee. You've got Cable and Rachel on adventures as very much as a brother and sister, then going to their parents for help. You've got Angel and Apocalypse. You've got Apocalypse and the original children.
You have Richter and Apocalypse.
Richter and Apocalypse. I mean, there's just a lot of deep emotional connections with these people.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's very good. Very good.
The only thing I complain about is where we need more Emma Frost.
I know. This seems like it's going to be a very Emma Frost light.
But it's all right. She'll be in the... Her and Kitty will be in the Marauders.
Yeah. And which Marauders likely showcasing Storm, hopefully.
True. Well, Storm, I have a feeling, because everyone says, oh, Storm's going to have a big thing. I think she's going to make a really great showing. Whatever the Skybreaker thing is, I think her powers are at the top of their game. And she's going to be like, oh, there's a reason I'm a fucking Omega level mutant. I'm going to fucking annihilate you. Because I also have a feeling, do you know who I think she's going to go up against? The bitch that can't lose.
Oh, Iska the Unbeatable.
Versus Storm, and Storm wins? Yes! Because I bet you if she loses, then she immediately dies. Like Maybe. Her existence, like she ceases to exist.
Yeah. I think Storm is going to get Skybreaker from her old friend T'Challa. There is a cover of Marauders that features Storm, Shuri.
A vibranium sword.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Well, this is going to be great. I can't wait. I'm so thankful that we're going to go on this journey together, Evil Jeff.
I know. It's going to be fun.
And I think we're going to come out the other end loving Rachel Summers.
I mean, let's not go nuts.
Let's go. Temper your expectations.
I know. Just last year, I was still wanting her to die of toxic shock syndrome.
Maybe that'll happen in this.
You never know.
You never know. All right. Well, if you want to give us your Ten of Swords predictions, please do that at us on Twitter at Comic Book Queers and let us know what you think will happen in Ten of Swords.
And
or don't. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, don't. Because guess what? We're gay and we can do what we want. And you're gay too. You know why? Because if you read comics, well, then that makes you
queer. Bye.
The king's wheel comes into
the world turns and bones crumble.
Bye.
Damn.